What is the Electoral College, how it works, and why it matters? So first things first, what is the Electoral College? The Electoral College is made up of 538 electors who cast votes to decide the president and vice president of the United States. When voters go to polls on Tuesday, they will be choosing which candidate receives their state's electorate. The candidate who receives a majority of electoral votes, 270, wins the presidency. The number 538 is the sum of the nation's 435 representatives, 100 senators, and 3 electors given to the District of Columbia.
Okay,
Can I keep reading?
hold on, let's stop for a second. So, we know that there's 100 senators, so how many senators per state?
2.
2. So then we have 435 representatives. How in the heck do we know how many representatives are for each state?
How many states are there? No, wait, how many?
It's on the paper.
Wait, how many, so there's, how many representatives? 270? No.
Thank you, Kevin. It depends on the population. So states with more people in it have more representatives. So
So New York,
for
California.
example, California has 53 representatives. Illinois has 18.
What? How
Okay.
about New York?
We can look at that in a minute, actually. So we know, I know we went over this with Mr. Ackerman. What are the 3 branches of government? So we have 3 branches.
Me.
Beautiful. So executive is who, Titus?
What?
Executive branch is who or what?
President.
So the legislative branch is who, Kevin? So the legislative branch is what we just covered, and that's the House of Representatives and the senators, which make up what we call Congress. Okay? And then the third branch is judicial, that's when the U.S. Supreme Court comes into play. All right, Ms. Holly Scott, can we read again?
How does the Electoral College work? Every 4 years, voters go to the polls and select a candidate for president and vice president in all but 2 states. The candidate who wins the majority of votes in the state wins that state's electoral votes. In Nebraska and Maine, electoral votes are assigned by proportional representation, meaning that the top vote getter in those states wins 2 electoral votes for the 2 senators, while the remaining electoral votes are all allocated congressional district by the congressional district. These rules make it possible for both candidates to receive electoral votes from Nebraska and Maine, unlike the winner-take-all system in the other 48 states.
So does that make sense, guys? So we have 48, so there's 50 states. 48 of them are winner-take-all. So the electoral, however many representatives they have, all of those people will cast their vote for the person who won the popular vote in that state. But there's 2 states, Nebraska and Maine, and I don't know the exact number of how many they have, but those 2 states were proportional. Nick, what's proportion? You know this.
Proportion? Why are you asking me?
Because we're doing it in math.
So proportion is the size.
Size. So, explain a little bit.
So, I don't know how you can.
So, regarding this, they would take the, based on the number of votes that each candidate got, you paying attention? And they would divide it up into a proportion of how many representatives they have. Focus, please. All right, so those are the only 2 states that operate in that way. Holly, would you like to keep reading?
Yes. How are the electors selected? This process varies from state to state. Usually political parties nominate electors at their state conventions. Sometimes that process occurs by a vote of the party's central committee. The electors are usually state elected officials, party leaders, or people with a strong affiliation with their presidential candidates.
Depends if anybody else wants to read. Does anybody else really
Does
want to read?
anybody else want to read?
Yes, I would.
All right, go for it.
So which one is it?
You should have been paying attention, you would know.
What is it?
Continue reading it.
Holly, read the next one, and then Nick can figure out where we're at.
Do electors have to vote for their party's candidate?
Okay.
Neither of the constituted states no such law applied. But common practice for electors to vote for their party nominee.
So can we, what does that mean?
It basically means that neither the, oh, okay, so it's saying that like the electors, they don't have to vote for their own party's candidate, they can vote for whoever they want.
Pretty much, yeah. There's nothing in the Constitution, there's no legal,
Like, law that
Rights.
says they have to.
so why is it that we already
Yeah.
crowned Donald Trump?
Because
President-elect.
most of the people, they didn't vote for who they were leading, they voted for who they wanted.
Hillary won the popular.
Well, 2% though.
So we're actually still gonna get to that. Actually, Nick, can you go and read the next section?
Yes. Thank you, sir, thank you, Holly. What happens if no one gets a majority of electoral college votes? I think this happened. If no one gets a majority of electoral votes, the election is thrown to the U.S. House of Representatives. The top three contenders face off with each state casting one vote. Whoever wins a majority of states wins the election. The process is the same for the vice presidency, except that the U.S. Senate makes the selection.
Read the next one for me, Nick, real quick.
Oh, can you lose the popular vote and win the electoral college vote? Of course. Yes, a candidacy could lose the popular vote and win the electoral college vote. This happened to George W. Bush in 2000, who shouldn't have won because he stole Florida from Al Gore, who lost the popular vote to Al Gore by 0.51%, but won the electoral college 271 to 266, also happened to Clinton.
Yes, so the numbers today, so this article was written before the election. So the numbers today, Hillary Clinton has 40%, 48% of the popular vote, whereas Donald Trump only has 47%.
Yeah,
That was like
So-
1%.
So why is it that he's our
He
president?
won the he won the electoral college.
Okay,
He got 271st.
you got the 271st, exactly. The exact numbers,
275, I thought it
the
was.
exact numbers actually are 290 to 232. So,
Damn.
the three states that we took, Nick talked about in the beginning, the three states that they want to recount, do you think that's gonna be able to make up that difference?
Yes,
No.
yeah.
Because
We
they
would-
get recounted because
we would-
290 and 232 are very like different.
Well, if one full state votes for, like, if one full state, and these aren't like normal democratic states.
I was gonna say, do you know what states
These
these
are
are,
way the hell
Nick?
out there, middle and nowhere,
Do you know what states these are?
town states.
Before you say some outlandish statement, do you know what states they are?
I think it's Ohio.
No, like what's
So, again, I need to look this up
They're
myself.
Republican.
I needed to look this up myself, because I want to learn about it, so you guys maybe want to learn about it too. The three
Yes.
states
But
are,
also, if
Nick.
Nick showed up.
three states are Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So, I wish I had the projector.
No, I'm sorry.
Because I could show you how many, if you guys can see this, I don't know, this might not be big enough. I wish I could project it on the screen. So this map shows you how many electoral votes each state gets. Here, Holly, you want to write next to each state for me? Why don't I go around and ask? I'll start with Kevin. How many electoral votes does Wisconsin have?
Me.
Jorge, how many electoral votes does Michigan have? Holly, here.
Oh, 17.
Will, how many does Pennsylvania have? Sal for Holly here?
21.
No, bro, that is not funny. It never was.
So, Titus, can we add those up? Yes, I know this isn't math class, but what's that?
First was 7 plus 1.
Why did someone just use a calculator?
7 plus 1 is 8. 2 plus 2. Oh,
So
see,
that's the
look at
number of
that.
votes that could be the difference. So now we gotta go back to our previous question, will that make a difference?